In this video, we are going to cover how you can bulk upload your cost of goods into sellerboard. So first of all, navigate to the products page and you will see all of your catalog inside for which you can update your cost of goods in different ways. First of all, manually, the way we described in the previous video, and also in bulk. Let's do this right now. So first, click on Import in the bottom left of the screen. This pop-up will provide you with 3 different options to upload your cost of goods: by product, by batch, or by order. The difference between these is that when you're uploading your cost of goods by product, basically you have a spreadsheet in which you upload information for your catalog, or maybe for a selected range of products, maybe for a single product but multiple periods. So it's a universal way of uploading cost of goods. When you're uploading your cost of goods by batch, that means that the information inside the spreadsheet that you're trying to upload will contain only the products inside a single batch linked to a single date, meaning that you are unable to provide information for multiple batches for a single product. And by order is the way you upload your cost of goods when you have info about cost of goods per order, having the order ID as a separate column, then the SKU as a separate column, and the cost of goods as a separate column. So let's go ahead and upload our cost of goods by product. First of all, take a look at the options that are available. You can download a template that will contain all of your catalog and input the information about cost of goods in that template and re-upload it back in here. You can choose to include only products with 0 COGS in the downloaded template, or download all of your catalog. It's up to you. Then when you have the file, and by the way, it can be even your own spreadsheet, not necessarily the template that you download from sellerboard, then you re-upload it over here by clicking on Choose File or just dragging and dropping it in this designated area. So another option is providing a link to a Google Drive file. If you have a spreadsheet that contains all of that information and the access rights are set, or the permissions are set correctly, then you can provide the Google link in here, and sellerboard to pull the data from there. All right, I already have the template downloaded, which is over here. Let's take a look at it and cover the basics of what exactly you need to provide inside the spreadsheet to be able to upload your cost of goods. So the spreadsheet will contain ASIN and SKU, product title, any labels that you want to apply to your products, cost period start date. This one we're going to highlight because we'll need that. Then your cost for the product. This we're going to also highlight because we'll also need that. Then domestic shipping cost and rest of world shipping cost. So these 2 columns are dedicated for products that have custom shipping profiles assigned to them. If you want to update the shipping cost for domestic shipping and rest of world, you can do so by uploading it through this file. Don't forget though to specify in the shipping profile column that it's custom. So then the system will understand, okay, that these values need to be imported inside the custom shipping profile. Okay, next column, value of unsellable returns. This column is with regard to the value of products that are considered by Amazon as unsellable in the moment when you're placing a removal order. We are not going to cover this in greater detail since we're on the topic of providing information about cost of goods. What we also need is batch quantity. So this right here, and maybe you also need the marketplace. If you're selling in multiple marketplaces, you might provide different values for different marketplaces. Okay, let's talk about formatting for a bit. If you are importing dates into the system, then make sure that the format is set to date for this column. If you're importing any kind of numbers, be it costs or be it quantities, make sure that the format for those columns is set to number, so not text. In that case, the system will import the data without any problems, even if you have dots or commas dividing your decimals. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure the format of the columns is set correctly. Then I provide the cost period start date. So in sellerboard, you have several options to account for your cost of goods. it's by period, weighted average, or first in, first out. If you choose any of these methods, the starting date is important because you are providing the order in which the batches should be accounted for cost of goods. So this is the date when you receive the new batch of products, and this is their cost. And then their quantity is input right here. So batch quantity. Don't miss this column, specifically if you're using the weighted average or first in, first out methods for accounting for cost of goods. If you're accounting for your cost of goods by period, then the batch quantity is irrelevant. All right. So again, batch quantity, cost, period start date, and cost value. The last thing I want to highlight is the marketplace. So if you're selling in multiple marketplaces, then you can choose the marketplace over here. Just provide Amazon.com or CA, depending on where exactly you're updating the cost of goods. If you will leave this field blank, then sellerboard will update the values for your main marketplace. Also, please note that if no cost of goods value is set for your other marketplace for this product for the specific period, then sellerboard will apply the cost of goods from the main marketplace. Okay, so pretty much this is it. It's worth mentioning the fact that if you want to provide several entries for a single product, so let's try and go ahead and do that. For instance, I want to provide information about 2 COGS batches for this product. So I'm going to input ASIN, SKU, title, just for the sake of being accurate. I'm not updating the label, so I do not need to input anything in here. The cost, period, start date. Okay, so this one will be later. So I'm going to, let's say, send it in or on the 16th of August. Okay, so the cost for that one will be 16, let's say, dollars versus 13. Okay, same marketplace, copying the value in here, and the batch quantity, let's say, will be 300 units. Okay, so okay, I got this information saved. So now let's go ahead and upload this file to sellerboard. I'm drag and dropping the file over here, clicking on import. Once I hit import, sellerboard will ask me to map out the columns, or basically say which column contains which info. On the left, you'll have the necessary metrics, which sellerboard will try to find in your spreadsheet. And on the right, you'll have the names of the columns that you have inside your spreadsheet. So since I was using a template provided by sellerboard, pretty much these two match, right? But the first and the most important part in updating the information is the accounting method I'm going to use. So I have 3 options, as I mentioned previously, by period, weighted average, or FIFO. So I'm going to use FIFO since I want to account for quantities. If you noticed, when I'm switching to FIFO, then the batch quantity becomes a required field. So now I have accounting method, batch quantity, and yeah, pretty much these two. Now I have information about my ASIN, SKU, batch quantities, cost of goods sold, basically my cost, and cost, period, start date. So when exactly that batch comes into play. Now I'm going to import all of this information. And I'm going to give the system a while to update all of this. So pretty much this is it. This is how you update cost of goods for your sellerboard products. And if I'm going to jump inside editing the batches for one of these products, then for instance, we can take a look at how exactly this is going to look. So let's say if I've created a batch that's newer than the active one, and I chose the FIFO method in there. So then I will have my units, I will have my unit cost, and I will have my remaining quantity for the new batch. That entry will be in queue, in status in queue. Once my current batch will run out, then sellerboard will switch from accounting for this unit cost to the new one. Another way to add your cost of goods information in bulk is by creating a multi-product batch. This button at the bottom of the screen will bring up a pop-up window where you can input multiple entries for multiple products. So basically you select the products, add the products that you want to create the cost of goods batches for, and then you provide quantities in your batches and the values for the cost of goods. When I'm going to hit save, then these three products will receive a new cost of goods batch with these values for the quantities and this value for cost of goods. And this will be the start date, which is unique for all three products because they are in the same batch. Another thing you can do here is pull the product list directly from an existing FBA shipment. So if you click on this button, then you will be able to select one of your existing FBA shipments, and sellerboard will pull your quantities, and then all that will be left is to provide the cost of goods per unit. Okay, so this is pretty much it. If you have questions, don't hesitate to post them in the comment section. Thank you.